consultation this morning with a buyer who called me, and basically he said in part, I have a friend of a friend of a friend who got a great deal in Naples, Florida. And he said this property had never hit the market, and he was able to buy this 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo on a golf course for 50% of what the actual value is. And so this person that I did the consultation with said, can you find me one of those? So that is the purpose of this video. We're going to be talking about that sort of big fish story inventory. Is it out there? Is it real? Is it a thing? Where can you find it? And I guess the answer is yes and no. So yes, it's out there, but it's not easy to find. So what I'm going to share with you today are 4 tips on finding that big fish story that friends of a friend of a cousin of a friend talk about, and you want to know if it's really out there and how can you buy that. These are going to be real actionable tips that will help you find what I'm calling secret inventory, also known as shadow inventory. Basically, it's houses that are either for sale or condos or manufactured homes as well, that are either for sale now but you're not seeing them, or they're coming available and you want to be in line to get them because you know that there's a motivated seller behind it. That is what I'm talking about today. So grab a cup of something and some pen and paper. I'm going to give you some good tips. All right, the first one is builders. I don't know if you knew this, but a lot of builders, especially small builders, don't put their inventory in the MLS. They just don't. So if you can get direct to a builder, you'll find out about things that are not on the market, getting ready to come on the market, partially built, going under, and they need a buyer to save them. Those are all sitting off MLS because maybe they're not ready to go MLS. Maybe there's some problems with them. Maybe there's, and this happened years ago in Cape Coral, a lot of spot builders, what I'll call just sort of one house builders. They would buy these lots, kind of go bankrupt. They're partially built, and they just need somebody basically to give them to, and then you can take it from there. Those are going to be really, really good deals. But at the same time, builders also have lists that might not be in the MLS that are not ready to market, but they're going to be in 3 months. So if you ask the right questions, you'll be able to see that list of homes, and it might be 10, 20, 50 homes that they're holding back because they don't want to release them, because maybe they're going to release into the next phase, or maybe they're sitting on too many properties right now. Big builders, big reputable builders will do that. They will hold inventory back because they have so much right now that they need to unload, so they just do not authorize mentioning these other homes. But if you come upon a salesperson, or if we as an agent know a salesperson with the builder who has been eating spam for a year, they're going to tell you about those properties. So builders are a good fishing pond for those types of deals. Number 2, and you do need a good agent for this. I used to own a foreclosure company, so I can tell you from experience, you have to have a good agent on this. Somebody who understands foreclosures, short sales, auctions. And you might say, well, why? What's the difference? The way you take title. You can take title with clouds on the title. There are some that are kind of low risk. There are some that are high risk. Sometimes you're being asked to take a property with people in it and you have to evict them. But I, my personal self, have bought several properties at auction. And as long as I know what I'm getting into, then I can make my best decision. And you have to have some propensity for risk if you're going to buy at auction, but there are a lot of public auctions out there. And if you have a good agent who's going to advise you appropriately, you know, one thing that I notice with these auctions is they might say property is worth $750,000 and opening bid is $350,000. But that $750,000 is so completely wrong, and it's not even close to what the real value is. So again, that's why you have to have somebody that you trust that's going to show you what the actual numbers look like. And a lot of times with auction, you have to pay a fee in order to bid. That's just kind of their way of weeding out people that are never going to get to closing. But short sales, another one, they're pretty good. If you can get a decent short sale list from a bank, you can do pretty well then. And if you're an investor that can pick up a block of homes, like sometimes I've had investors that I'll hook them up with a banker and they might target, give me everything that you have in 34113. And then if they agree to buy everything, they get very, very preferred pricing on it. So that's more of a specialized buyer, somebody that can make a deal like that. But if you are just looking for a good buy, auctions and foreclosures, depending on the city that you're buying in, those can be a really good place to look. Number 3, know a lot of agents. Know a lot of good agents. Now listen, I always want my buyers to be loyal to me. I mean, who doesn't? But at this point and day and age and the changes that have been made, you know, it kind of is what it is. So if you have a good buyer, it is to your benefit as an agent to give them a deal. So what I do personally is I've got a relatively small list of cash buyers that I know that if I see something that's an incredible deal, I can pick up the phone, call them, tell them the numbers, and they're ready to go on it because they know we have a relationship and they know that I'm going to give them the real deal, the real numbers. I'm going to give them the good, bad, and the ugly. And a lot of times they will target specific neighborhoods. So if you're somebody, let's say you only want to buy in Lakewood Ranch. So if you connect with 4 or 5 very good agents, get somebody that's great at foreclosures and short sales. Get somebody who's selling a lot in X community. But you know, again, when they're selling a lot in X community, sometimes they're trying to keep the prices up. But a lot of these agents, they will know, and it really is just a numbers game, but they will know, you know, which condo owned by Earl and Gertie are getting ready to go on the market, and they haven't told anybody yet. It needs a lot of work, but it might be perfect for you because they don't want to deal with one more season of hurricanes, and they're going to give somebody a great buy. Not agents that are known to give people a bunch of bad information, not those, but people that actually have their ear to the pulse of the community you want to buy in. Get to know those folks, form a relationship, go out and have coffee, give them a call, talk through things, and convince them that you're a good buyer ready to go. I get these calls all the time from investors that are like,
yeah, can you put me on your list for anything you get in Port Royal at 50% of value? Now, I only want to do a little carpet and paint, but if you have something that I can pick up real cheap, listen, I might be interested.
Don't waste your time talking to people like that. Nobody's going to actually help you. All right, and the last one, foreign sellers. The Canadian dollar is not doing very well. We know this. They're putting their properties on the market like crazy. And not just the problem with the Canadian dollar, but foreign sellers in general, they're just scared right now. I mean, they're just like, no, we're done. We're not going to play this game anymore. They just don't want to be here, or it's the conversion that's bothering them, or they're afraid of the political environment, or they've made something up in their mind that makes them not want to be here anymore. So foreign sellers right now are pretty darn motivated to unload their properties. Now you might say, well, how am I coming up with foreign sellers? Tax records. I mean, tax records are public knowledge. There are some communities that are known to have more foreign sellers. Listen, that is public knowledge. So anybody who's getting upset about that is public knowledge. So there's communities that have a lot of Spanish-speaking people, that have a lot of Russian-speaking people, that have whatever it may be. There are communities like that. I can think of a manufactured home community in Naples, Florida, that is almost all Canadian. So If you're aware of these things, then you can get letters out and you can just simply ask people, hey, are you interested in selling? Because if you are, I'm interested in buying. So those are 4 ways that you can find that hidden inventory that can many times be that little pot of gold you were looking for.